Well, welcome back. 2008 Hyundai Elantra. About 30,000 miles overdue on a timing belt. So we're going to do a timing belt and a water pump in this. You don't have to do the water pump, but you're in there, do it. Just makes it a lot easier. Pretty simple. Take probably 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours, depends if everything goes well. I do have, I'm going to take this passenger side wheel off. I've got the car up on a jack stand for the side because you're going to do all your work on the side. And I've got a jack and a piece of wood. You're going to block this engine up. That's one of the things you're going to have to do because you're going to take one of the motor mounts. So we're just going to go through and we're going to do this. Got the engine blocked from underneath a piece of wood and a floor jack. Car's up on a jack stand. Got the wheel off. I'm going to take this motor mount first. 17 millimeter bolts, these three, 15 around here, and 10 millimeter. Set that aside and disconnect the battery as well for this, just to be safe. See it move just slightly there. Not even maybe 1/8 of an inch, not much. Just pull this or set it out of the way. Yep, 14. Set that aside as well. Big proponent of just putting stuff back when you can, where it came from, as long as it's not in the way. One, two, three, four 10 millimeter bolts, upper half of the cover. We're just going to take that off. Alright, there's the top cover, camshaft gear. So now we'll start just moving down and take some other things out of the way here. So yeah, this bracket sits on top of the alternator. We're going to undo this alternator. Your water pump pulleys right here. We're going to loosen those 4 bolts. We're going to reach in there. I believe they're 10 millimeter. We're going to crack them loose before we take this belt off. Use the belt to help hold that pulley tight so you can loosen those bolts, because we're going to have to take them off when we do this water pump. This bracket's going to have to come off. I think there's 12 millimeter and probably 14 that goes in here. We'll undo the alternator and then we'll work our way down from there. Alright, we'll get this one 10 millimeter cover bolt while we're here. So what I want to do is I want to come in here and loosen this 12 millimeter bolt there, right here. And then I can get this 10 millimeter and back it off. That's my tension. And then there's going to be a pivot down underneath here. I'm sure there is. There's a, it looks like to me another 12 millimeter behind here that is the pivot. So we will loosen that, get that out, loosen that pivot, push the alternator in, hopefully, without too much problem, and then take this belt off and get it out of the way. And now we'll reach down and get the one that's the adjuster here, which is not a 10, it is a 12. And I just back that off. Now it's loosened, and then just pivot it up. Just pivot it up like that. Hopefully you can see that. I think you can. Just pivot it up there. Now I've got to reach down on the bottom here, you won't be able to see this, but there is a 12mm nut at the bottom corner, right near the engine block. And I'm going to get that loose so I can pivot right behind the bottom corner. So should be able to reach. I think I can just reach down here, up here, and get it. And probably need not that extension. Let's try without that. Yep, on it. Let's see if I can break it loose. If you don't have a flex head ratchet and you're doing any work on cars, do yourself a favor. Get a 1/2 inch and a 3/8 inch flex head, because it will save you a ton of time. Alright, I believe I can just pry this back. If it's loose, yeah, there it goes. You see it move in. Push it in as far as I can push it. Now, I've got to get this bracket here. And I believe what I've got is I'll take this 12mm bolt the rest of the way out. This is attached to the bracket, unless it's not. It's through the bracket, but I don't know. We'll just set that aside. 12mm, 12mm, 14. Let me break it loose here with this. Okay. Not a lot of room to work on this one, but enough to get it. I don't know if I can get a ratchet and wrench in there. We're going to find out. If I can get, yeah, I can. Good. Make my life easier. So you got to be careful of is that, right? So now, what I've done is trap my wrench. It's just trapped it because it's up against this edge of this pulley for the water pump. So let me finish taking that water pump pulley off and get it out of the way, and I'll be able to get at that. Let me get you some light in here too. Let's try to put the light where you can actually see. Alright, so I'm just going to finish taking these off. If you got shorter fingers, you're going to have a hard time doing this without a wrench. Just telling you. Alright, that should cause that to come off. Nobody dropped that, of course. Alright, we'll get it, but this inner one should come off. There we go. I knew there was two pieces in there. Oh, it's going to be drop everything day. Alright, pulley. Let's finish taking these two bolts out here. So now I have a 14 in here that I gotta get to, so let me get a socket for that. Okay, there's the bracket. I'm gonna stick that bolt right back in there. It's not going to be in my way. It's behind the water pump, so it's not in the way. These two I'm going to put back where they came out of the bracket. Set the bracket aside so I don't have to hunt them down later. Alright, so I'm inside the passenger side front wheel well. Here's the cover that I'm thinking was the rail, and it's not. It's just the inner plastic cover that's in the way, getting that bolt off. So there's a 10mm bolt up here. There's one in the front here, and there's one up in here, right there. We're just going to take all three of them off. We should be able to take this out and get to the rest of the things we need to get to. So there you go. There's the panel. 2, 3, 10mm bolts. That's it. Not great lighting, but looking through the wheel well, passenger wheel well, that's the tensioner pulley right here. I know the light's not good. I'm trying to get you some better light here. I'm trying to get in a position where you can actually see this without blinding you at the same time. That's probably not too bad. So that's your tensioner pulley right back here. See that bolt? That's your adjuster, 12mm.
We're going to run that back out. It'll loosen this pulley. It'll slide. You'll see it slide out, and that will let us take this belt off and get it out of the way. The drive belt. Let's see if I can get the belt off now. Oh yeah, plenty of slack. So I'll show you this belt once I get it off. It's really cracked. So yeah, you can see that belt's no good. It's done. So I won't be going back on. Okay, so if you look down there, see if I can get a picture right there on the right hand side of that timing cover. It says looks like a 1T. That's your top dead center mark. That's where we're going to line the grooves in the crankshaft pulley up to. So I'm going to spin that around, turn this clockwise, and line it up, and I'll show you when it's all lined up and done. Alright, so if you look down in there, I've cranked this over by hand using the crankshaft bolt. Right down in there, see if I can get a shot of that. You see those two grooves in the crankshaft pulley line up with that, what looks like a 1T, top dead center. And I come back and I look at the camshaft gear. There's my hole. If I look through that hole, I can see the red mark behind it in the case, and it says up. You can't see it, but it says up here. So that's at top dead center, and that's where I'm going to leave it before I take this belt off. It's going to stay there until we take this old belt off and put the new one on. So looking through the wheel well, I see the crankshaft bolt here, 22 millimeter. I'm going to see if my small gun will just break this loose. Yep, nano for the win. Alright, there's the bolt. We'll just set that aside. We should be able to wiggle this off. Sometimes I'll hang up a little bit, but just give them a little persuasion if we need to. Tap it with a, there it goes. There we go. So if it hangs up on you, it should slide right off. And then there's a plate, this little metal plate behind it. Put them together. Okay, it goes behind it. Otherwise, you might forget it. You don't want to forget it. What I will say is I have my gun turned down to the lowest setting. This is my smaller gun. It's my Astro Nano. I don't want to crank these out and break one off, so it's on my lowest setting. Just make sure that they come loose and they don't bind up on you and you break them off. You will not be happy. Okay, there's one. I don't know if I can get this one. Let me get a wobble extension. I think I can get that one. I know this is kind of hidden from you, but it's just above where you can't see. Gonna get it started here. I think if I get a wobble on it, I can get it. Maybe. Maybe. Maybe not. Yeah. Come on. Yep. There we go. That's all down here. Got to go up the top for the rest of them. So here's your water pump right here, right? Right beneath that, right down there, there's 110 in the front of the timing cover. And then back here, you see this bracket, which kind of connects up to where the motor mounts. There is a 12, I think it's a 12, I'm guessing, millimeter headed bolt between the AC compressor and the edge of the timing cover. Let's see if there's another bolt in here. And there is. There's another 10 millimeter right back in here. Try to do it without dropping it. I might drop it though. I'm good at dropping stuff. Alright, that's it. So I believe that's it now. I may have to take this bracket off because of the way this is, it kind of flares out at the top. And I can't really move it around the water pump. Let me see if I can or not. I don't know if I can. I want it to go down. So maybe not. I don't know. I may not be able to get it out of here. Otherwise, I may have to take this bracket off. I got a pretty good move on that, so I'm going to see if I can get that out without having to remove it completely. It might give me enough room to squeak that by, but I'll know in a minute here. Maybe not. blind myself in the process here. Boy, you want to talk about close. Let's do it. Alright. You just take this at the bottom if you want. There's the cover. So there's the mark I was talking about earlier, that 1T. Top dead center. I'm losing my light here, but there's a tensioner. It's on an eccentric 12mm, 6mm Allen key. Stuck it in there, break it loose. You can release the tension on the belt, and then take it off. There we go. There's your tensioner. I'll just take this belt off here now. Okay. So I only have two more things remaining. You've got this idler pulley, which is right below the water pump. It has to come off, and then there's 3 bolts on the water pump. 2 of the bolts we already took out. That's part of the bracket. That's those 2 bolts that are here. Mount that alternator bracket, and then there's 3 more bolts on this side. So I'm going to go down underneath and grab this water pump pulley. See if I can get that off. I think it's 12mm. Water pump pulley, not water pump pulley. Idler pulley. There's the idler pulley. You have a new one. Came with a kit, so we'll be replacing that anyway. Alright, 3 12mm bolts on the water pump here. I'm not hitting this hard, just trying to knock it loose. There it goes. It's going to leak, by the way. Spitting all over the place. I have most of it in the container here. Some of it's getting in the container, and most of it's not. My jack is holding my engine up, kind of in my way underneath. So there it is. We're just going to see most of the gasket stuck to the block here. We're going to clean that off and get the new one and put a new gasket on it. That's about it.